what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
That's the U.S. president this morning responding to the collapse of the ceasefire that he declared victory on. He since then said that it was re-implemented and that we have peace again across the world, except for all the places that we don't. So it's kind of up in the air. But hey, I'm glad that Trump seems interested in not prolonging a drawn-out war with Iran. I will say that, just to be clear. I said I would say that. I'm saying that. I'll give you more information, but here's the full clip where Trump responded to the fact that immediate violations were taking place of this supposed ceasefire between Iran and Israel.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them.
I mean, it is notable how large the load was that was dropped.
I'm not happy with Iran either, but I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
It may be the first time in U.S. history a president has stood on the White House lawns and dropped an F-bomb. It really may have. It may. So to get some information on this, Israel accused. So Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, to which Iran responded. This was so weird. So this was all happening last night. I was in a nice slumber, but I woke up to some wild headlines that went something like, Trump announces ceasefire, Iran denies ceasefire, Israel no comment on ceasefire, Iran strikes Israel, Israel strikes Iran, Trump says they don't know what the fuck they're doing, Trump announces re-implementation of ceasefire. It was like, whoa, what the heck happened? But Israel accused Iran of breaking the ceasefire overnight Tuesday, Axios reports, and launched jet fighters for a retaliatory attack with bombs to bomb Tehran. A visibly frustrated Trump, speaking to reporters as he departed the White House en route to the NATO summit in Europe, said he was unhappy with both Iran and Israel, but he pressured Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to call off most of the planned airstrike with posts like, Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do it, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And Iran will never build their, that's not really, but never build their nuclear facilities. And he kept posting stuff to that effect, okay? Now, if we jump over to a little bit more of what Trump was saying on the White House lawns, we get this.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either.
Goodness. But then following that, Trump did come out and say that they've re-agreed to really doing it for real, though, this time. And let me just show you some reporting on Morning Joe so you can see the series of events here, and then we'll get into more stuff.
News breaking.
Yeah, there is a lot to get to this morning, and we'll begin with that breaking news. A top Israeli official says that Iran has completely violated the ceasefire just hours after it went into effect. Officials claim that Tehran launched more missiles into Israeli territory. No injuries, though, have been reported. Iran is denying that it violated the agreement. But now the IDF has been instructed to respond forcefully with strikes against the Iranian government targets in the heart of Tehran. This comes just 2 hours after Israel officially accepted the ceasefire deal with Iran, and President Trump claimed that the agreement was in effect. Now, Trump first announced the deal yesterday evening, saying Iran will halt its attacks first, then Israel will start the ceasefire, bringing an end to, in his words, an official end to the 12-day war. Iran said last night it's willing to stop hostilities if Israel does the same. But shortly afterwards, Israel reported a barrage of missiles that were launched from Tehran. At least 5 people were killed in that strike. Then, overnight, Israeli forces announced that they destroyed missile launchers in western Iran that they say were aimed towards Israeli territory. The attacks then stopped until just moments ago, when Israel said it detected another Iranian barrage. Now, even earlier in the day, before the ceasefire was announced, Iran launched missiles at the United States Air Base in Qatar.
And that gets to what we covered. Those were intercepted. Welcome, everybody, to the morning show. I hope you're doing wonderful. So much, as you can already tell, I'm sure, to go through today. Yes, updates on Israel, Iran, and Trump. But also, Jeff Bezos' wedding is getting a lot of attention and backlash. And there's a funny little element of that I'll fill you in on. And many other things. As always, if you become a member, like Abel did, Abel, spelled 2 different ways, by clicking the join button on YouTube, then I will thank you if it's while we're still live. I appreciate all of you being here. Little Associated Press reporting, U.S. President Donald Trump said a ceasefire between Iran and Israel was in effect Tuesday after the deal initially faltered, and the American leader expressed deep frustration with both sides. So my hope here is that despite the initial tenuousness of the ceasefire, that it does hold and that the war doesn't continue. Let me give you kind of the 2 responses that we're seeing. On one end, you have MAGA saying, see, this is the brilliance of Trump. He accomplished what we needed to. We didn't get into a prolonged war. And man, he probably has a huge... And then the other side is the biggest loads. The other side, the concern here is that we have word. We're going to have to wait and see what the full intelligence assessment is, which we may never get if it contradicts with what Trump is saying. But we have initial reports that there's a good chance all of Trump's pontificating publicly before the strike led to Iran moving nuclear elements, some of the stuff we were targeting, the enriched uranium, away from the locations that we were going to strike, and that there could be a lot of that remaining still. And so you have the situation where not only was there constitutional questions, to say the least, about what Trump did and the risk that he brought forward by doing it, but also the mission potentially wasn't even accomplished. So you have exacerbated tensions that will manifest themselves in all sorts of ways we don't yet know in Iran's actions going forward, further hostility between us and them. And also they're motivated. We talked about before, what's so harmful is that Trump has sent this message on the world stage that if you're North Korea, if you're Russia, if you're able to actually attain nuclear weapons, he'll start treating you like you're the most beautiful girl at the ball. If you don't, and you agree to not get nuclear weapons through an agreement with the U.S., like the JCPOA, secured under Obama, then he'll rip it up and then start bombing you. So the exact wrong incentives. We don't want Iran to think they have to desperately figure out how to get nuclear weapons. We'd prefer they actually do make an agreement with us to peacefully prevent that from happening. And so was this definitely a setback, I'll acknowledge that, for their nuclear program, but one that won't systemically change the problem and the risk that presents geopolitically. That's the other side of the argument that I'm on. And it seems not as much as Trump wants us to believe was actually accomplished here, but so much in terms of long-term impact that even could be negative did take place. Patricia Hunter, thank you so much for becoming a member by clicking the join button. I appreciate you. Now, Trump notoriously said about Russia and Ukraine, you gotta settle. You gotta settle. Yeah, and it didn't work. But I think this just might work for Israel and Iran. Here is a song that someone put together. Let me see.
Us, and by us, I mean the U.S. Was scrolling through my For You, then a headline shook me through. Googled how to stop a war, cause it feels wrong. Didn't know what to do, but Google had a clue. She said the answer was through song. Hey, Iran, please don't bomb us, and by us, I mean the U.S. Like I didn't major in poli-sci, I majored in English. So I'm sorry if this is insensitive message.
So someone needs to get to that Trump. Someone needs to get to Trump. I think that could solve things here. Ron Filipkowski said Trump bombing a country, declaring a ceasefire, then awarding himself a peace prize for it is peak MAGA. Yeah. Yep. And then let's hear Chris Murphy. I respect his opinion on a lot of things. Democratic senator said this.
We understand the Ayatollah is in a bunker because Netanyahu said he could take him out at any time, and Trump has talked about regime change. So does that mean that that's all over? Regime change is off the table? I mean, I'm only saying this in the context of some things are impossible to put back in the bottle. Sometimes when people show you who they are, they've shown you who they are. And it seems that we have passed such a moment, whether you're in a ceasefire or not.
Yeah, I think that's right. And listen, we still have not gotten, any damage assessments. We have a classified briefing in the Senate tomorrow afternoon where hopefully we'll get some questions answered. But, already you're seeing information that suggests, we did not deal a lethal blow to their nuclear program. They may still have as much as a half a ton of uranium enriched up to the 60% level, which is near what you need for a nuclear weapon. We may have just damaged Fordo. We may not have destroyed it. And so if that's the case, if their nuclear program is still basically intact, and now they know that, the only way the regime survives is by speeding towards that weapon, in the medium to long range, this might get worse for the United States, not better. So, we still don't even have all the facts to know how impactful this strike was, but it certainly is going to alter the calculus of the Iranian regime.
Yeah, I concur. And I think that's where we'll leave that discussion. Let me quickly thank a few people, then we have so much more to get into. Davey did good. Davey did good, became a member. Thank you. Dark Match sent a super chat saying, breaking, Speaker Johnson claims the War Powers Act in Constitution is unconstitutional, plans on looking into it to possibly repeal the act itself, granting total power to declare war in the office of the president. Is that like what he would do, or did he actually say that? I'm sure he would totally give anything to Trump. Robert Brunswick Jr. became a member as well. Thank you to everyone. So the NBA Finals were last night, right? Yes, they were last night. And I'm not going to give you a whole NBA Finals breakdown because I don't know. I think there was a team called the Pacers and the Thunder. I know that. NBA Finals Game 7, Thunders beat Pacers. So that's cool. But the notable part, the clip I wanted to show you from Good Morning America, was SGA, as he goes by, one of the players. I think he was the MVP. One of the basketball performers. The athletes. One of them had very much fun, clearly, throughout the night, and seemed very exhausted for his interview on Good Morning America.
Jay Gilgeous-Alexander. Give it up all for SGA. Getting up and joining us this morning. Oh my God. How does NBA champion that have a good ring to you, SGA?
Yeah, it's everything I imagined it to be. The opportunity has been amazing, and I'm happy and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Okay, have you been to sleep, Shay? Have you been? Because you look a little sleepy. Did you get any rest since last night?
I got some rest, not as much as I'd like, but hey, you only live once.
That's right, and you are living your best life right.
That is how you should feel the morning after you win an NBA championship. It is always so weird to me whenever athletes will win a Super Bowl or win an NBA Finals or something, and then I see them in an interview the next day and they just look fresh and great and totally rested. Did you not party? If you're ever going to party after you win a title like that, it'd be amazing. All right, I mentioned the Bezos wedding. Jeff Bezos, who is a very rich man. Ooh, I think this might be the time. Katy Perry. Ooh, let's see. No joke. Actually, I totally got distracted because the person who sent in that super chat about Speaker Johnson, I think this is the clip they were referring to.
It also requires that the president inform Congress within 48 hours of use of military force. Obviously, President Trump did that. Obviously, in the modern era with the 24-hour news cycle and social media, nothing goes by unnoticed. This might have made some sense in 1973, but I'm not even sure it was constitutional, and I'll tell you about that as well. Many respected constitutional experts argue that the War Powers Act is itself unconstitutional. I'm persuaded by that argument. They think it's a violation of the Article 2 powers of the Commander-in-Chief. I think that's right. If you look back at the Founders' intent, you read the Federalist Papers, you read the records of the Constitutional Convention, I think that is right.
Whoa! Okay, no kidding. Thank you for notifying me of that. That's insane. Every part of our government is supposed to have checks and balances. So if you're saying there should be no congressional oversight to the power of the president in regards to the military, then talk about undermining one of the principles the founders so clearly stood for. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, more throughout the day. But back to Bezos, okay? Jeff Bezos is a rich guy, and he's having a rich guy wedding in Venice. And there are protesters in Venice. And just one thing, and then we'll get to like the cost of the wedding and different notes about it. But one thing that cracked me up is that you have these anti-Bezos protests happening saying we don't have any space for Bezos' wedding in Venice. But this is just epic. Throughout the month, protesters have hung anti-Bezos posters and banners on various locations across the city, including the Bell Tower. There. On Monday, activists from Greenpeace Italy and the UK group Everyone Hates Elon Musk joined the action. I don't know.
What a joke.
I don't know why it made me so happy to picture a protest like, get out, Jeff Bezos. And then people are like, what's this about? This is about Bezos? We hate Elon. We hate Elon. Elon's just, what? I thought we could add that while we're talking about billionaires. We hate Elon too. Oh, it's brilliant. They hung a banner in St. Mark's Square with a picture of Bezos laughing and the words, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. Okay. TMZ's reporting, so it's Lauren Sanchez, and she was one of the people who went on that Blue Origin trip up to space for 15 minutes and then back down. And Jeff Bezos, they're the ones getting married. $50,000 a head. That's a pricey meatball, is the headline. Fun as always from TMZ. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding guests will want for nothing because they're reportedly spending an eye-popping $50,000 per person for their ritzy Venetian wedding. The sky-high number comes from a report from Brides.com, and with a guest list just under 200 people, that's a minimal $10 million wedding. $10 million for their wedding. Now, if I went to a wedding, and I have actually been invited to this, I turned it down. I just don't really want to travel right now. But Jeff was like, similar to, y'all remember the Blue Origin thing? He was like, go up to space. And I was like, how long would I be up? He was like, 15 minutes. I was like, that's not cool enough. I'll wait. So similarly, I just, my tux is dirty for my brother's wedding. So it wasn't the right time for me. But if I had chosen to go, then I would have, and I heard that they were spending $50,000 just for me, I better leave. Well, first of all, there better be, what's the thing, like adrenochrome or whatever there? I better get whatever it is that Hillary Clinton is harvesting, according to MAGA. I better leave. I don't know. What do you get for 50,000? What's happening? I mean, I'm assuming I would have I'd just be making love for days, right? Is that a part of the function? It feels like Venice, but like if I don't come with somebody, if I don't bring someone for $50,000, they should provide somebody, no? Right? I'm just thinking through it. I might call Jeff, actually, if the offer still stands. $50,000. Wowza. How about this? What if I don't go and he just gives me the 50K? Does that work? I won't go. Don't worry about the adrenochrome and the prostitutes and the weird ceremonies or whatever. Just give me the money and we'll be good. That'll clear your debt with me, Bezos. $10 million, of course, that's just pocket money for someone who's rolling in it. Amazon founders estimated to be worth $230 billion. The chance Bezos will blow even more cash could cost him upward of $20 million. 30-carat engagement ring to worry about. Wow. Yeah. All right, so let's just remind ourselves, if we can here, Katy Perry, not just taking up space, we're making, not just taking up space. Let's see if we can find this clip, because it is iconic, frankly. Yeah.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and
this was after the flight.
Replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey.
Yep.
And it was a supernatural one.
Yes.
And my journey has always been about love and belonging, and I think that we have all felt that sometimes we weren't worthy or we didn't belong, and in certain ways, no matter all the accolades, no matter all the studying, no matter anything. And I think today we all said it, like, we belong here. Mm-hmm. This is where we belong, and we feel very sure of that. So
we belong. we belong in space. Like what? So I think Katy Perry is going to be there. I like Katy Perry. It sounds like, I feel like people will get all their wires crossed. I like her. That's just a really funny clip. Okay? So I'm scarred still from that one day. Ugh. Luke, you're being... Yeah. She is not taking space, she's making it. Shut up. If you don't know what that means, then you... So I see... So people are saying there's not space for Jeff Bezos in Venice. So he should just tell them he's not taking space, he's making it for them. See, if he can spend $50,000 per person, that can give you hope that maybe you won't be so lonely. If he can spend $20 million on a wedding, then maybe you can find the love of your life. It's really for you. Like how that space flight was for us to show us what is possible. We already saw someone go to the moon, but it's even cooler that they went briefly out into the space and came back quickly. So that should give you hope. Similarly, Jeff Bezos' wedding, if a guy like that can have a $20 million wedding, then you can fall in love, I think is the takeaway, at least the way that I see it. Wow, a lot of updates. Goodness gracious. Jared said, have you checked out any of the timely Jesse Wells songs on the Talk or the Gram? Modern day Bob Dylan deserves more exposure. I'll check that out. Adamina Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you by clicking the join button. Sam said, hello from the UK. You are my news sources of choice. Shout out to Clean, Beautiful Cole.
Clean, beautiful coal.
Kim, thank you so much for super chat. Dark Match, thank you for becoming a member. Data Ray said they can't just load enriched uranium in the car and bring it to their mom's house. It's moved in special steel cylinders that withstand significant pressure and placed in protective casings. Takes a long time to move, according to Dr. Ray. Good to know. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing from my sources on the ground. Okay. Shanine Hammer became a member. Thank you. Keyword Girl said, yay, first time I've been able to catch a live. Love you, Luke. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you, everybody.
I love you back.
Yeah, isn't it crazy that Katy Perry was married to Russell Brand? That's Katy. Actually, wait. Hold up. Hold up, everybody. How do you even... Russell Brand. Rusty Rockets is his username. Ew. Rusty Rockets. So just picture these two having a chit chat, okay? You ready? Let's just picture these two. Wait, let me jump to here.
I want to thank all of you for your continued... But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray.
All right, and then in response, you have...
For me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination.
Pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
It was a journey, and it was a supernatural one.
I want to thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to let you know that...
That would be a crazy convo. You know how he does the, welcome my 4.8 million awakening wonders where your eyes are being opened to the sound of the universe. And then Katie like, I'm not making the universe, I'm breaking it. That's a fun couple. Okay. Woo! All right. Tucker, we bring ourselves back to Tucker. Jenny said, think Katie was referring to the next generation of girls. Yes. Which is exciting. And good. Kiwi Girl, thank you for becoming a member. You know what I want? I want the next generation of girls to triumph. And I think Katie could have explained it a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. I think she could have explained it a little bit better for us. It sounded a little bit like weed thoughts, you know? What if the earth wasn't round, but it was spherical? Have you thought of that? Can you smell a color? That's all I'm saying. I hope everyone's on the same page. Tucker is having a weird one right now because he's clashing with his own side, and now they're calling him woke, right? There's this phrase. I honestly am still trying to figure out what it means. But when one MAGA group doesn't like the other MAGA group, they call them woke MAGA or the woke right. I don't know how that even makes any sense. I think they just mean like bad, right? You know, because woke just means bad to them. But from what woke meant, it would mean like more left-wing MAGA, but that's not what they mean by it. So here is Tucker responding to that. You don't even have to play it because we're going to hear it multiple times throughout this clip, that soundbite, but he finds very hysterical that he'd be called that.
I shouldn't be surprised because they always accuse you of being exactly the way that they themselves are. Is anyone who asks questions or disagrees is woke now? Have you noticed this? The woke right? So you're like, I'm not sure that we should have a war with Iran right now. And like, it seemed like there were a lot of problems here. And like people I know are dying of drug ODs. Shut up, racist. You're woke. It's like, wait, what?
Oh, that's a crazy pause. That's a crazy pause. That's a crazy pause. So why does he... Okay. If you think you're racist, that's your problem. The amount of times he says, and then they respond, "You're racist. Ah, you're racist. Ah." And it's like, who? Wait, about this? About other things, I think, yeah, you say some racist stuff. Maybe it's just for race baiting and rage baiting and click baiting and but no one's calling you racist for not wanting war. Nobody said, do you think okay, one of the people he's clashing with is Laura Loomer. You think Laura Loomer is calling anyone racist? She's queen of the racists, okay? So no, it's maybe woke, but he's so used to going, and then they call you racist. Because he always does that about the left. He says, people I just say, hey, maybe we should have a secure border. And they go, you're racist. And I'm thinking, wait, which is true, by the way. What? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking why they would say that. No one's calling you racist for that. Maybe people called you racist when you start talking about third world people making our country dirtier and replacing native-born Americans. I just said that I wanted a drink of water, and they said that I'm a white supremacist and that I like the KKK. Okay, sorry.
Shut up, racist. You're woke. It's like, wait, what? Or people who are clearly working on behalf of a foreign country accuse you of working on behalf of a foreign country.
I hope you're working on behalf of a foreign country, because otherwise I don't know what all this is. I mean, we agreed more on our take about Trump. That was a rare overlap when it came to the war stuff on Iran specifically. But your trip to Russia, some of the stuff Trump's been doing and saying about Qatar lately, I hope that grocery store trip, I beg, I really wish for his sake that grocery store, that Russian grocery store trip was because he was being paid. Otherwise, weirdest, most integrityless, well, I guess it would be that even if he was being paid, but most sad display I've seen from a commentator.
So amazing.
Because, well, so many of these were former left-wing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing, right? So these neocons, let's be honest, right? They were left-wing.
Oh, yeah.
So they have now taken the moral high ground to tell me that I'm part of the woke right because I don't want us to intervene in a foreign. So I guess by that measure, then George Washington is a member of the woke right in his farewell address telling the nation we shouldn't intervene in foreign affairs of other countries.
So I thought wokeness was a euphemism for engaging in identity politics. It's identity politics. What matters most is your identity.
Right.
Ethnic, religious, whatever, racial. The people who are...
Racial. I don't know why the way he said that was funny.
Right.
Ethnic, religious, whatever, racial. The people who are using the term woke right are practicing the most vicious kind of identity politics I've ever seen. It makes the Black Lives Matter people seem like amateurs, which they are, of course. I mean, this is serious identity politics. You disagree, you're a Nazi.
Right.
What's that but identity politics?
Well, and it's also being described as insidious. You're not aware that you're anti-Semitic now. Tucker, I don't know if you know, just the way that you dress today is now anti-Semitic.
It's unconscious bias.
Right. I mean, I literally
Did we
heard.
just hear this 5 years ago from the left?
And
unconscious
now we hear
bias. You're racist without knowing it. You don't need to be aware of your bad attitudes. You just exude them.
We heard this 5 years ago from the left.
I think that I do think that Tucker's offensive without knowing it. Just his being is offensive to me. I just see him and I'm offended. This is a personal affront to me. I don't know how he would be racist against me, but still it feels like he's something. I think you're racist against me, Tucker. I think you're racist against me somehow. just your vibe. Oh, goodness. Look, I brought this up. Let's just have a little bit of fun. Why don't we? It's Tuesday. You know what we do on Tuesdays. Tucker grocery store, Russia. Let's remind ourselves of this debacle. Let's see.
So a long-standing feature, maybe the longest-standing feature of Cold War propaganda in the West was the Soviet grocery store. No products, no choices, shoddily made things. And it wasn't actually propaganda, it was real. And you can look up the pictures on the internet if you want. So we thought it would be interesting to take a look at a contemporary, modern-day, 2024 Russian grocery store 2 years into sanctions. Here we go. All right, there we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it.
Who needs individual rights? Who needs to be protected from their government tossing them off a roof if they disagree politically? They put 10 rubles in and you get it back so the homeless people don't take the carts. He acts so impressed. Watch this when he gets to the elevator. The cart escalator thing. He's so wowed as someone who's never shopped for himself, clearly. Because, yeah, big grocery stores have things like that in the U.S. too.
So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay, this is the grocery cart escalator. This is designed, I'm figuring this out now, where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator. Look,
yeah, Tucker, say you had like assistants and butlers without saying it. I mean, I haven't seen one like this where but normally the ones that I've used, you just put it and then a perfect little thing takes it up for you and then you go up an escalator yourself. This is so funny. This is what's supposed to make us think it's not bad that Russia invaded Ukraine. Like, really get your head around that.
where the wheels don't move, they lock.
Oh my God, really?
Escalator. Look, Ma, no hands.
I've never. Oh, how is he so famous? I don't get it.
They lock on the grocery cart escalator.
Listen.
Look, Ma, no hands. Retail placement here is a little bit different. So it's like walking through Macy's to get to Whole Foods. Okay, we've gotten through the perfume section to get to the grocery store. So we're going to try and buy what a family of four would buy every.
That's like plenty of malls, too. What is he doing?
Every week, and we're going to see what the selection is, and we're going to see what it costs. Now, Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. The low-carb lifestyle has not swept Russia. Thank heaven, because I mean, look at that. It's fresh, too. Look at that. Oh, come on. Unicorn and mini milk.
You don't know if that's good or not.
All right.
Okay. Hold up. Didn't he say that he's shopping for how many people? What I think he says at one point, he's shopping the groceries he would get for a week. Is that what he said? Well, listen, if that's true, why do you need 2 gargantuous milk jugs? How much milk are you drinking, you freak? You know, we're just here shopping to see how much it costs in Russia to eat for a week. And I got 2 tons of milk. I went and got 2 full cows worth of milk. We drained dry 2 cows of milk.
Some kind of Russian wheat cookies. Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? Yeah. I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you, but it looks like a staple, so we should get it. It's a very good-looking package. It's got to be flour, right?
That's like every flour package I've ever seen in my life. It's a really good looking package. You can tell. Like, see, this is what Putin does here is he makes good packages. It's every other I forgot how crazy this video was.
And this is Russian wine. It's from Crimea, which not only has the warm water naval base, but also is the source of most of the grapes in this part.
Why does he do this thing? Full screen me, Jane? And we went to the Heart of Evil. And, he does this like, watch this. It's like, again, this thing that people do when they have had to teach themselves how to act like a normal person. Oh, and it's the source of most of their grapes. Look, I'm a person. I do gestures with my face and my head. By the way, he doesn't even mention Crimea, Ukrainian territory illegally annexed by Russia. He's such a propagandist. It's insane.
Is the source of most of the grapes in this part of Russia for wine. So it's apparently pretty good. Cheese puffs. You check out of a grocery store and you've got gum, razor blades, and candy. Actually, they hide the razor blades because we steal them. But these are all seem to be Western products. Mars, Twix, Snickers.
Do they have Snickers in Russia? Well, shoo-wee! Who needs freedom?
Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Hall's Cough Drops, Mentos. It's pretty non-sanctioned to me, but what do I know?
See? What do I know? Oh, look, I do my head like this. I don't love this angle, to be honest. I don't want to ever wake up with that angle. Just Tucker reaching at me. Come here, let me look at. You got a nice rabbit on you. Putin must have wrapped you.
I went from amused to legitimately angry. So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week.
No wonder groceries are expensive for you. Over a week? Let's go back. You need this much milk over a week? What? Oh my gosh. I went from amused to legitimately upset.
For a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought, corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person.
If you're a racist,
you're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway. Radicalized.
Yeah, so he's so moronic.
Why are you the way that you are?
Do you know why it's cheaper? Because we are wealthier here. First of all, the value of USD. Second of all, they make much less money there. So proportionally, it's not great. It's so wild. That's like the most obvious thing. If you go to a country that's less wealthy, then the money you have can go a longer way. But comparatively, it's not better. And also, I looked at this at one point to prep a segment on it, but just to put it in, zooming out, he can do these weird things. Like I tried to find the best grocery store so I could go and do a propaganda piece for Russia. But every single metric, let me see if I can quickly get this pulled up. and living. But just everyone hold. Using traditional metrics. Okay. You don't have to put this up while it goes, but Jane put that up. He's saying, Luke, do something productive while this goes. We have a live show. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, get them. July 5th, LukeBeatsShow.com/live, Austin, Texas. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully. It would be terrible. I've said that like 100 times. Imagine if it's terrible. So include income. All right, we're going to compare income, health, education, life expectancy, economic opportunity, and political freedom between the United States and Russia. So GDP per capita, U.S. residents earn significantly more on average and have greater purchasing power. So purchasing power. His whole piece there, do you know what we can figure out? This is crazy. He flew to Russia to go to a store to go, oh, bread, yummy. And to get two, like you know those things that they make wine in, those huge barrel type things? He got 2 of those of milk for 1 week, blah, 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 drinking it up. And he did this whole trip where he got radicalized is how I feel, just instead of Googling what the purchasing power comparison is, which is that our money, we can buy more with it. The average person. Americans have a longer life expectancy, not even close, 71 years to 77 in the US, and we don't even have the best among liberal democracies, obviously. Housing and infrastructure, the U.S. has broader access to modern living conditions. The U.S. has higher education quality and global competitiveness. The U.S. provides more personal and business freedom, innovation, and job opportunity. Obviously, we have more civil liberties, but he doesn't care about that. We have a better birth rate even, which they scream so much about. We have lower poverty. We have lower infant mortality. It just goes on and on. So he went and did a puff piece because he can't contend with actual data about the truth, which is that despite all of our issues, the authoritarian regime in Russia, even if he likes the train station, which radicalized me, and the grocery store, and I can get for not that much because no one makes as much, humongous gallon jugs of milk. And he can't contend with the fact that that's not disputing the actual living conditions, even with all of our problems. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, before going further, let me see here. Ranger Oi said 4 attempts to get that camera shot. Yes. I'm not sure what that is. Jenny said, we have in Canada lock wheels and pay cart. Oh, really? Wait, you don't even need a dictator to have those? Thank you. Wide Thumb said, love what you do. Keeps me sane while I can still keep up with the important stuff. Thank you so much. All right. Trump plans victory lap for Big Beautiful Bill. And all I can say is please, I beg him to talk as much about this bill as possible. One of the least popular agendas we've ever seen in history. President Trump's team huddled Monday. Like, as a contrast, when Biden was trying to pass his major agenda items, I told you that if you polled it initially, just what do you think of Build Back Better? Or what do you think of the Inflation Reduction Act? Polls would show that people were pretty supportive of it, but a lot of people weren't. And then if you explained to them what was in the bill, it would skyrocket, and the vast majority of Americans wanted it to pass. Trump's is the opposite, where it's already not supported just when you say, do you want Trump's Big Beautiful Bill to pass? Then when you explain what's in it, even a huge chunk of Republicans don't like it, and the vast majority of the country doesn't like it. So I want Trump to talk as much as possible about it. President Trump's team, Axios reports, huddled Monday to discuss a victory tour for shortly after July 4th, following what they hope will be passage and signing of his big, beautiful bill, a White House source with direct knowledge tells Axios. A top Trump aide pointed out that this will likely be seen as Trump's first big move of the 2026 midterm cycle. Republican control of the House is at acute risk. You know what I was thinking about? What is going to happen with 2028? Because I don't think Trump is ever, while he's still president, going to want the attention not to be on him. So you could imagine he actually tries to figure out how to run and that just and honestly, given the fact that it does look like our courts are holding enough to save us, I think they would, as everyone could, easily interpret the Constitution and say, no, Trump, you can't run again. But if he acted like he was for long enough, then maybe that'll prevent a different Republican from coalescing the support and having the time to build a strong campaign. But even so, can you imagine after 2026, really right after that, we're going to start seeing 2028 discussions and people doing those little book tours where they say, I'm not running for president. What? I just launched a committee to decide if I'm going to or not. And Democrats will all be doing that. We're probably going to have 600 Democrats running for president. But could you imagine Trump giving up the spotlight and letting just a normal Republican primary go? And if he does, then he's going to be demanding that the entire debates are just telling the world how great he is. Which, if his popularity continues in the direction that's been going, which is down, then that'll be the greatest thing ever for Democrats, to just have a Republican primary that's debating over how much they love Trump and people are so sick of Trump. So we will see, but I can't imagine him going around the country advocating for this bill will be good. You can full screen this, Jade. I'm going to play a little Air Force One gaggle discussion where Trump talks about supercells. Do you know what those are? Well, they're not what he thinks they are.
Sleeper cells in the United States.
Biden led a lot of supercells, and Biden was an incompetent president, had no idea what he was doing. He hardly ever signed a document. Other people signed documents for him with the auto pen. It was gross incompetence. And among everything else, he let a lot of supercells in, many from Iran. But hopefully we'll take care of them. What Biden did to this country should never be forgotten.
Supercells. Do you know what he's talking about?
I don't even know.
Can you play our new soundbite, please? I'm sorry, it doesn't apply. I just want to hear it. I just want to hear it.
It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
Yeah, it's so good. He's trying to say sleeper cells, which are spies or implants from other countries who work on behalf of a foreign government, live regular lives here, but they're here and they're ready if they're called upon to activate, right? And so the fear is that's scary, but it's also scary that Trump doesn't even know what they are. Supercells? It sounds like an animated show to teach you about biology, but it's put in the form of superheroes. Mr. Mitochondria. And bat nucleus, you know. Oh, that one made me cringe. Yeah. So that's cool. He doesn't know what they are. But you heard him talk about Biden. Another Axios report I saw was GOP probes aim to keep spotlight and blame on Biden. So I think their midterm plan is run on Biden because they can't run on Trump. It's Joe Biden. And put as much attention. And hey, there are plenty of people in the media who are having a field day doing that too, saying let's just keep the focus on Biden. I think we got a good 6 months out of that. Aren't we six? How many months are we? You were coming up on 6 months. If we're like all the way into 2026 and we're still relitigating Biden, I am going to be upset. And that's when I'm going to shut it down. Because I don't need to say this, but I know we have new viewers, so I will say it. I'm perfectly willing, and I find it important to figure out what went wrong, Biden's issues, and how that contributed to the election loss. That's important. And you can't do it forever. Eventually, we got to look forward. And I'm not saying that in the cringy way, like, oh, was the election stolen? Yes, but let's move forward. It's like, no, what? Which is what MAGA politicians always say. I'm just going to look forward. Well, no, this is consequential. And so similarly, it's not moving forward to not have the discussion, but eventually we have to complete the discussion because the Democratic Party needs sort of a rebirth. And you can't have a rebirth if, I'm trying to think how to continue this metaphor, if we're still in labor for the other birth. You know, what even is a rebirth? Does that even happen? It's like, push, and the doctor's like, oh shoot, no, this is not fully cooked. Put it back in. And then they put it back in for a few days, and then, all right, now we can go. Rebirth time. Oh, it's ready. I think that's what rebirth means. I think I just figured it out. So we can't be sticking, this is what I'm saying. We can't put Biden back into the vagina. Does that make sense? Jane spit. Does that make sense? I feel like just to continue with we can't, listen folks, we can't do that. I don't want to go back, folks. Because otherwise, we're just going to keep that cycle. We're going to keep, and then he comes back out, and he goes back in, he comes back out, and we never are able to really rebirth the Democratic Party. I know that got lost, because now I'm thinking, wait, if Biden's being reborn, then why would we be sticking Biden into the... But I think you get the point I'm making. That's the important part, which is we have to move forward. I don't think, even with the solid things Biden did, given the branding issues now, and his major objective of beating Trump becoming a disaster, I think the Democratic Party needs to just part ways with that brand and start anew, because this is their moment. People want something different. Give them something different. And that means that people like Chuck Schumer also need to exit stage right, please. Thank you, Chuck. As long as it's the old... Whatever you think, you might think, but that's not fair because the Republicans never moved on from their Trump brand and that was toxic and they still won and Trump was way terrible and the Democrats still did some good things when they were, yes, fine, but that's not, we're going off of what is needed electorally. And that is for a party that comes off as new and fresh. People are bogged down by these old options. I don't just mean age, I'm saying like old brands. The brands of the past that have a lot of baggage. And so we want to allow for a new baggage-less party, which can happen. It can happen. And it can be some of the old names still. You know, some of the people we already know about. I don't mean literally all new politicians, but just that brand needs to go. And so some of the biggest faces of the brand need to exit stage right. Auntie Erica said, give me a joke.
Give me a joke.
Conor McGregor's broken leg said Trump is a peace president. I'm assuming that's a joke. I feel like...
Give me a joke.
Oh, I'm so dumb. Guys, I'm so dumb. Auntie Erica said, give me a joke, and Conor McGregor's broken leg responded, Trump is a peace president. That's funny. Okay, sorry. What am I doing? That's epic. Thank you so much. Hey. My brain's fine. That's where I'll leave it. I appreciate all of you so much. That was The Morning Show. I'll talk to you next time.